Oh, here we
All
are.
right. Hey,
Hey,
hello, friends.
Hi.
You're
hello.
live with the Estradas at noon. Hopefully, you're enjoying a nice cheeseburger or burrito, or those are just things that I really like.
I was gonna
So,
say, can't we have lunch on these things, or what?
oh, that's actually a good idea. Yeah, they should comment whether we should be eating lunch with them. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, just want to give an update on what's going on in the real estate market because that's what we do. Is we sell houses.
We
And
do?
yes, some of
Is
us
that
do.
what this is called?
Okay.
And we want to help people buy and sell real estate. So just a quick market update. I was doing some little statistics, early this morning, and March 2025. Do you have an idea of how many homes were sold in the metro area?
Mm,
4,000.
Good guess.
I was saying 5.
Yep. 3,500,
Oh,
3,570. Yeah. Which is about, it's on average. It's
Right,
some
that's
of
what
our
I
real
thought. Is
estate.
like 100. It's like 100 to 150 a day.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
is it
And
more than February?
is it more than February? Yes, it is more than February. February is traditionally the slowest month of the year, and I don't know why. Um, so it's just one of those things. February is the slowest. How that compares to March of 2024. So year over year, um, we're down slightly by about 8 homes.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
it's
About the same.
3578 versus 3570. So, um, but what gets me about this is it feels like it's a lot slower than it is. Just the overall feeling,
Hmm.
the what's all the chatter and the anecdotes that we hear um, from our real estate colleagues, and everybody's kind of freaking out. And we're on track. We're about average. So I don't know where that's coming from.
Well, I
Um,
feel like that's just the world in general right now. Like everybody's in freak out mode,
I'll get that.
and uh, for different reasons. But I think it's interesting, like you said, when you sit down and you actually look at data and year over year and all of these things in any area that you are looking at. Obviously, ours is real estate, but you can kind of look in everywhere. It's like, it's not as crazy as everybody's saying it is. So it's an
Hmm.
Hmm.
interesting phenomenon to me.
Well, I saw this post yesterday. It said it feels like right before COVID hit. That's what it feels like. And I don't know if you guys could attest to this because I was in the industry at that time. But what do you think
Yeah.
about that post? Is like,
Uh, I
Yeah.
would kind of agree with that. I don't remember that time period though. I just
5
Well,
years
because it
ago.
remember
happened
post
so
COVID.
quickly. It's not like we were prepared that something was coming or there were signs of something. It just kind of literally felt like it happened overnight. But I can
Hmm.
see where the pent up fear and the pent up energy of what's going on in all different areas of the economy um, could have that impact on real estate. Um, once
Well, we
people
kind of
start to
saw it
see,
last week.
well, yeah, and we
Yeah,
got
we
some slack on we got some slack on that post because people are like, oh, why are you why are you posting about interest rates? They're not really going down. And I think some people misunderstood that post. They did go down at that period of time. And we were stressing the window is open, act quickly. A lot of people did not, but 3 people did. And you are closing 3 refinances next week because of people who responded in that 24 hours and locked in at that 24 hours. And you're saving them, what, $300 a month?
yeah,
So,
it's not an
my
insignificant number.
But I think it's hard in our industry because, like you said, there's a lot of chatter and there's a lot of real estate and mortgage people out there throwing a lot of chatter out without a lot of context. Um, and I think sometimes that's where things get lost. But yeah, I mean, if you're truly paying attention and you're really following things and know the data, it's not as scary as you might think.
Yeah, we had a 12-hour window, and when I post those things, it sort of comes off as a salesy kind of thing, like, oh, now's the time to refinance. Your window's closing, but it literally opened for 12 hours and it closed in 12 hours. So it was a real thing. It wasn't a
Yeah.
salesy job. Um, and people were like, oh, I'm just going to wait till it goes down more. If it's gone down now a little bit, why don't I just wait and see where if it goes down lower? Well, it doesn't happen. I think when people get in trouble when they tend to get a little greedy. And when you have a win, just go ahead and accept that win at that time and move on. Don't try to time the market. It's impossible. I've been doing this for 26 years. I haven't been able to time the market ever. So don't try to do it. Nobody can do it. If they claim they can do it, they're lying to you. Take the win. If it makes sense for you at the time, lock the rate and move on. That's
Do you think
my
Well,
people
I
are
think
still trying to get that 4% rate, get back down there to those
I,
3, 4?
that would be great. I would love for that to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
I wouldn't.
yeah, that was a crazy time. Where if we see interest rates dip below 6%, we're going to see a massive amount of buyers enter the market, and we're going to see the multiple offers driving prices up, getting stupid with removing contingencies and things like that. Meaning, when I say contingencies, like waiving an inspection, waiving appraisal, all those things that we did during, just during COVID times that were
Mm-hmm.
just really ludicrous. And it got us to the place now where homes and affordability, it's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly a challenge, and I acknowledge that. Rates at six and
Inventory
a
still
half,
low.
inventories. Just to give you some statistics, so um, this just blows my mind. We're still at 47 days on market. It takes a month and a half to get a home sold. That
But I
that
think
blows
that's
my
the hard
mind.
part because everybody's mind is still in the it's only going to take me 2 weeks. And so
Hmm.
I think that's why buyers and sellers are kind of freaking out because buyers are thinking, oh, there's something wrong with it because it hasn't moved yet. And sellers are thinking there's something wrong with the market because it's not moving yet. And agents are not communicating correctly to the consumers. And so it's creating this frenzy of fear uh, in the market.
Well, I think as home sellers, we're still overpricing. And how I know this is because the average original list price, so the original list price is the price that you listed at right out of the gate, okay, is 706,148. What the average selling list price, meaning people having to reduce the price to get an offer, is 692,143. So what that means is that sellers are having to reduce their price by $14,000 initially to get an offer. So
Mm-hmm.
we are still overpricing as a real estate industry. We need to
Well, and those are
sharpen our
hard.
skills.
Those are hard conversations to have, though, because the number one thing that we hear from our sellers usually is let's price high and we can always come down. And this
Yep.
is not the market. This is not the market to be doing this. And I think the interesting thing for me is sometimes my head goes to like a cartoon or like a movie. And I feel like right now we have a seller and we have a buyer. and they're staring at each other, like having the staring contest. And there's like all this chatter in their ear on both sides, and none of them will budge. Neither
Mm.
one will budge. And that's where we are in the
Well, it's
market
like
right
that
now.
listing appointment we had like 2 weeks ago where we're talking to the seller and she's like, well, can we try for this? And then we mentioned like, well, when you see a property on the market, what's your first instinct? And they're like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, if it's
So
sitting there
I,
for,
yeah.
2 weeks, I think 2 weeks is like the magic number. Like
Hmm.
14 days on the market. After that, buyers tend to question, why is this home still on the market?
Hmm.
And I would agree
Well,
with them. There's no reason why listings should be sitting on the market more than 2 weeks with all the technology that we have to get eyeballs on homes for sale. It's never been easier as a real estate industry. And there's no way, if a property is priced correctly, that it should be sitting on the market for longer than 2 weeks. I just don't get it.
well, and those are the hard conversations we're having. And I think, the three of us have actually had to walk away from business recently, because this is not a message that is being welcomed with open arms by a lot of consumers out there. But it doesn't do any of us any good to just, I did a post a few weeks ago where I'm like, you don't hire us to market your house. You don't hire me to get you these beautiful pictures. That's not why you hire me. You hire me to sell it. And I'm not doing you any good by letting you overprice your house when it's just going to sit there. I'm not here to waste your time. But these are hard conversations. And like I said, we're having to walk away from business because we so strongly believe in the data and where we're going in the market, but the message isn't being received yet.
Well, it's a hard pill to swallow because obviously, most sellers are biased, as I would be if I was selling my home. I would think that my home is one of the best homes on the market, right? But sellers, we had this conversation, we had this line that sellers are sometimes right about what the market is. Real estate agents are right most of the time, and I say that most of the time, but the market's right all the time. And I'm working on a way to determine market value, letting the market tell you what your home is worth within the first 2 weeks. We really only need 2 weekends to really have the market tell us what the home's worth and how it responds to the pricing and things like that. So I'm working on that. I'll hopefully be able to talk about that in one of our lives. One of the other things that I wanted to bring up is um, seller concessions. What are you guys seeing out there as far as, maybe Buddy, you can speak to what's happening in the new construction space.
Hmm.
Tiana, you can kind of talk to what's going on in the resale space. What are you guys seeing as far as seller concessions? And when I say seller concessions, what are the sellers crediting the buyers at closing for whatever it is? Is it closing costs? Is it rate buy downs? Is it or is it just straight off the off of the market price? What are you guys seeing out there?
For new construction, it's a mix of both. So, I mean, I've seen some up north mostly. They have some advertising for 30K lender incentives, so that can go to either rate buy down, closing costs, or off the price. I see some where they price it lower, and it's only 10K incentive. So it really comes down to the bottom line of what the builder is going to do. So, they're going to keep adjusting. So if you have 30K, it's going to be a higher price. If you have 10K, it's going to be a lower price. It's going to be those types of conversations where you're like, well, why can't I have both?
Mm.
um,
We're not there
and then,
yet. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, and then I also see some builders offering just rate buy downs right now, like 4.99 to 1 buy down. So locked for 4.99 years 3 to 30, and then the first 2 years could be 2.99, second year 3.99. And then a little bit of closing costs on there. They're just really trying to see because they're sitting on a lot of inventory right now. A lot of builders are trying to get stuff off their books. Um, I think them lowering their rate a little bit has helped, but I don't think it's doing enough for them. So just making sure that you know what builder can help you the most in certain situations for your own unique, because not every builder, because we went up to Brighton the other day and they're offering the same incentives, the same basically floor plans. Um, it's just some have more inventory and some don't, so some are going to be more motivated and some won't be.
So if you are rate conscious and you want, it doesn't really matter about the property, you're more concerned about what rate you get and what payment you get. New construction might be an area where you want to explore because you are
Mhm.
getting that, what you said, 2.99 the first year.
Yeah. Or a 30K incentive, and you could just buy down the rate, and that can get you a pretty low rate as well. And you don't have to
Mhm.
worry about your payment going up the second year, the third year. But yeah,
Very cool.
so
Well,
they're all over the place.
that's one thing I do want to touch on, because there's a lot of people out there who just don't have the knowledge that they need. And when I am out working with buyers and I tell them that you can permanently get a lower interest rate, they don't know that. And I think that I don't know the best way to get that message out there other than, I guess, doing this and just hoping it gets to people. But people are so hung up on the interest rate right now, which, yes, that is important, but there are ways to get a lower rate
Hmm.
permanently. And I think not enough people know about that. And I
One
think
thing
that if
I,
they did, that would really change the atmosphere for them, because if you are rate conscious like that, like you said, you're able to still get that lower interest rate, but benefit from the slower
mhm.
movement in the market to really get, what I'm seeing is some pretty good deals.
Yeah, and I think with builders, it's such a different. They're not really sellers. It's more of a business plan for them, and so you have to come at it in a different angle. Sellers are very emotional. Builders aren't that emotional. They just want to make a deal happen. So I think that's where you can take advantage of going new construction. They're already offering a rate. They're offering incentives that you can get into a house below market rate. And plus the way they build them, I just went to a class this week about energy efficiency and the stuff that they're doing out there to bring down your energy levels, your electric bills, your water bills and stuff like that is pretty significant. And that also affects your cost of living in the house. So if you're going to go to a resale home that's built in 1950 with needs a new water heater, needs new AC unit and stuff like that, that's going to be out of pocket stuff that you have to negotiate to a seller who it might be emotional for them. Maybe someone died in the family and they don't really want to sell the house, but they sort of have to because um, I don't know, their
It's a
situation.
tough situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, builders come in with new tankless water heaters, new furnace, new everything. Technology is great now. And they're trying to do zero landscaping. So, that saves on your water bill as well. Stuff like that. So they're really trying to make an effort, and the building code keeps getting updated every few years of what's standard for new construction as well.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Well,
The
you
other
bring
thing,
up a good
what
point, buddy. Sorry. You bring up a good point, buddy, though, of really having someone working with you who's going to sit down and put in the work to figure out all possible scenarios for you. Um, we pride ourselves here as not saying, well, we can't do that. Like, the three of us will stay up till midnight figuring out how can we do this. Like, if we know that there's a new build and we have a pretty good idea, like this is their bottom line, okay, where can we get a rate, where can we get this, where can we ask for that, how can we structure this in a way where it's that number that they want, but it's also the number that the buyer wants. And that takes work. And I think in this market, the three of us are putting in overtime on scenarios like that, because it's not cut and dry. It's not simply, here's my offer, take it or leave it. It is a whole scenario every single time.
Yeah.
And I think it's just important to know, if there's a way, we usually find it.
Yeah, I
It
think
might not be
this
your
year,
traditional way, but there are ways to make these things happen right now.
Yeah, I think this year we're like specializing in creative solutions, I would say.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the market to do it in, because I think that's what real estate agents do best, is um, a lot of thinking outside the box. That's so one of the reasons why, I got my mortgage license, is to be able to um, work with those creative solutions, and to be able to, throw commission from the loan side into the deal to get a lower rate for our clients, and to get a win-win situation between, the property that they really love, and the payment that they're looking for, and try to get that as a win-win for everybody. So
Hmm.
um, one of the statistics I wanted to share is that on the resale side, um, we still are seeing about a $6,500 average as far as seller concessions. So across the board, most sellers are offering or having to pay at least $6,500 in seller concessions to get the buyer closed.
Is do you see that as how do you see that as a seller's point of view? Like, oh shoot, should I prepare for that $6,500, or do you think I should just price it right and try to get a buyer who doesn't need that? You know?
Good question. That is a good question. I'd rather price it right, or even price it slightly below market, so that we can get into a competitive situation where we get two, three, four buyers interested in the property. So then that way we go with the one that says, hey, you know what? I can find $6,000 somewhere, or I can increase my interest rate and cover closing costs. And I'm not going to ask the seller for that, because I want to win the property.
When you mean below market, what are we talking about there? Like how much below market?
Well, that's the tricky part, right?
Hmm.
So you don't want to price it way below market, so that buyers kind of they're like, you know, um, this is an unrealistic price. I think they're just trying to fish for, you know, um, buyers that are willing to pay well above that, and
Hmm.
that may deter buyers from making an offer on that property. Um, are you guys hearing my phone?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Um, and then so there is a sweet spot. I think it's unique per property. I think on the higher end, on the luxury end, I think you're going to see um, a little bit more versus maybe like a home that's on the lower end, that may be for first-time home buyer or something like that. So it's unique per property, and it's property per property that we'd have to look at it and kind of figure out. All right, what's the right strategy here?
Hmm.
Um, so it's hard to say across the board what would that look like.
Yeah.
But again, those are
And
hard conversations, because if you're doing your job and preparing your sellers for everything that could pop up, um, they tend to want to just bake it into the cake and add it on, add it on, add it on. Well, if I'm going to have to do that, let's add it to the price, add it to the price. And it doesn't work that way. Um, so we're just having to have very lengthy conversations with sellers right now.
Yeah. Well, difficult conversations. That's what we do. So, um, is there anything else that you want to cover that before we wrap up here?
Um,
Looks like we lost Nathaniel.
yeah.
Yep.
I would say the one thing that I'm noticing is that people who are considering making a move need to start the process even sooner than they think.
Mm,
Because we're no longer in the place of, I decided today that I want to buy a house next month. It's not working that way.
mm,
Um, and sellers, I want to sell my house in the next 30 days. So I'm going to start here. No, it's taking longer. And so if you are thinking like, oh, we're waiting till summer, well, now is summer.
yeah.
And there are a lot of other things. These are the types of conversations that we're having with people. And these things take time to find the right scenario, to find the right property, um, to find the right loan product. because we're having to get creative there too. Like we're starting to have to bring in like maybe USDA financing or some first time home buyer down payment assistance. I mean, you have the one closing next week with the guy who's taking advantage of Chaffa's first generation home buyer program, which is a really pretty awesome program that not a lot of people know about. But there are all these different things that have to fall into place to take advantage of these things. And so it really is an educational process mixed with emotion, and figuring out how to balance that, I think, is what's most important right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. Well, I think it's exciting times because I think those that are creative and experienced and have kind of been around the block and know these tough markets, I think those are the agents that are going to win and help their clients get into homes, sell homes, help people get on to the next chapter of their lives. I think those people are going to win in this market. So I'm excited to have these conversations. I think we're doing this week, Monday
Daily.
through Friday,
Yeah.
daily, Monday through Friday, just to kind of see, what's going on in the market. I think real estate's always a hot topic, and people are always curious to know what's going on in the market. So hopefully you find value in this, and we'll continue to do this. And we're not restricted to real estate. We could talk about fitness, although I don't look like I could talk about that very well.
Well, we get
Um,
a lot of questions about how we work together, like the three of
oh
us.
gosh, yeah.
And I know there's been some people who are like, my kid wants to get into it. What do you think? And
Hmm.
just having that family business dynamic, we get a lot of that. There's a lot of change going on in our family. So just really to be of service. And I was thinking about what you were saying earlier about your interest rate post and how it came off salesy. And unfortunately, in real estate, a lot of stuff does come off as salesy. Um, and by definition, being a real estate agent is selling real estate. But it's just, I think the one thing I would like to everybody to know is like, we're not in sales here, we're in service. We are here to be of service to you. And so when you decide to come and work with us, it's going to be a different experience for you, and it's not for everybody. But it is a different experience when you come to the three of us because we lead from being servants, and that's a different way to approach business. Sometimes it is a long game because we never want anybody to get in over their head or set themselves up for failure. So, yeah, when you do work with us, it's going to be a lot of education and conversations and self discovery. And because that's important to us. So, my point to that is if you do see something that we post, I would definitely pay attention to it because that means we've spent a lot of time looking into that. And we only put it out there if we are confident that it is something that our clients or our family or our friends would benefit from.
Yeah, we scrutinize the heck out of it.
Yeah.
We don't post just to post. At least I don't, because I think our reputation means a lot to us. So, um, but disclaimer: we're not always right.
No.
We don't have crystal balls, and we can't foresee the future. So things do happen. Um, but yeah, I thought, if you've made it to the end of this live, thank you. I appreciate that. But we will be doing this on the daily, and at least Monday through Friday. And if you
And if you
have any
guys are watching
questions,
this, yeah, if you guys are watching this after the live, if you're watching like the recorded version of this, and you have questions, you can comment them, you can message them, you can text us. You all message us every day. And we'd love to just share, what some of your challenges are out there and how maybe we would deal with them or give you advice. Like I said, like Ruben said, we don't know it all, but we have been married for 26 years. We do have 5 kids. We have been running this business. We've never done anything else. So we know a little bit about it. And yeah, again, just coming from service, I think that's why we want to have these. So to let you all know, like, we are here for whatever challenges you might be having. It's a different conversation than what's going on in the world right now. We just want to help.
Yeah. If you have a property maybe you're looking at and you want to get our 2 cents, you know, it doesn't matter if we're helping you buy it, or if you have a friend or family member in the business, they're helping you. If you just want our 2 cents on, you know, what we think about it, or if you've got a property that's coming on the market and you know, you want our 2 cents on how you can prepare your home for sale, how to position it correctly in the market. You know, what do you think about price? You know, all those things that go into selling a home. We'd be happy to just run it by us, and
Well, and
we'll share our.
conversations about equity right now, and how you can make that work for you right now. I know, Ruben, you've been having several conversations around that area, especially given kind of some of the economic roller coaster that we've been on for the last couple of weeks. There have been people reaching out to figure out, like, okay, I have all of this equity. What can I do with it, and how can I use it? And those are important conversations as well.
Yeah, we have that blended payment program that we've helped a few clients with that. So maybe we'll cover that next time. We'll put that on the agenda for tomorrow and cover how that could be a benefit for folks that are trying to, you know, get out of debt or try to figure out how to upgrade to the next home, but still keep the same payment or even less, which has happened. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
Cool.
we'll wrap it up there. See you
All
tomorrow.
right. See you tomorrow.